Pujyatman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda commences tonight's satsang with a Sanskrit peace chant.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We begin with Mystic Song by Sri Swami Lalitananda, played and sung by Sri Swami Umananda and Rajneesh.
Our song tonight is called Prayer to Devi. Oh Devi, tender and yet terrible, I bow before you again and again. Without your grace, this world would be Om Shri Durga We are recording from the ashram of our revered Guru Pujyatman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda in Miami, Florida. Today is July the 17th, 2020, Friday evening, and tonight Swamiji will be lecturing on the Tulsi Ramayana. This is series 2016, class number 213. And now Pujyatman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Neelambuja Shyamal Komalangam Sita Samaropita Vamabhagam Panau Mahasayak Charu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham. Adorations to Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus. He is very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side, and he is carrying powerful bow and arrow in his hands. Sri Ramcharitmanas, Ayodhya Kand, verse number 229. I bring the number of verses. The universe is highlighted by verse. Storyline. Lakshmana has come to be informed of big army and Bharata coming. But Lakshmana has become excited with the idea that Bharata is coming to secure being the king, to remove thorns on his path. And the thorns, who are the thorns? Rama, Lakshmana. It's a worldly view. So Lakshmana has become excited, and in his excitement, he is uttering various words, and now we will hear them. But there is subtle meaning behind all these episodes. The meaning behind it, if you practice dhyana, Lakshmana is dhyana movement. Dhyana makes you aware of your divine potentiality in progressive way. But more and more you become aware, you begin to lose grip over your thoughtful mind. Thoughtful mind, wait, what you are seeing through your meditative state of mind needs to be attained by integral movement. So simply because during meditative process, your mind became so flared with that all is Brahman. Now, you come up with that excitement. Now, no more anything else. No bhakti, no karma, nothing. All is Brahman. finished. I'm giving this joking way. But that type of excitement, that type of sudden surge of energy comes in many stages. And that surge has to be under your control. That surge is called a ris. Let me read that. That's आई बना भल सकल समाजू प्रगट करऊं रिस पाछिल आजू जिमि करी निकर दलई मृग राजू ले लपेटी लवाजिम बाजू. It's what's happening, it's good. Their Bharata is coming with a big army. Today I will express all the anger I have held under control. By anger he talks about his agitation, his strength behind agitation of mind. And the Hindi word for that is ris. And if you have too much ris, you have rosh. If you have too much rosh, you have no bharosh. Bharosh means patience. Interesting words. Your dhyana should give you rasa, not risa. Rasa is harmonious, like a melody type movement. Risa is an abrupt state. And if you become addicted to risa, that quality is very close to anger, expressing in the form of irritation, rosh. Always, you never know. Sometimes some people go to their boss in the office, and the boss has a very rosh type of personality. So you have to wait until he's in his good mood. So Lakshmana is saying, suddenly his mind evaluated the situation in an abrupt way, in a rush. That Bharata is all the army is come up. What else can they do? That's the world. The world cannot contain that type of temptation. If great power has come to a person, prior to having that power, the person was so wonderful. But great power comes and the person loses all his integrity and all his divine virtues. And Lakshmana is presenting that in this episode. But behind that, again, you have to understand the intention of the scripture is to teach the people who are listening to the scripture. And what is being taught? That when you are blessed with power, prosperity, do not lose grip over your dignity, integrity. I will not go into too much detail, but that's the theme. Whenever you hear this type of anger from on Lakshmana or from everybody else, it is not to bring you a history of what people behaved thousands of years ago. How did they talk? How did they act? Holding the data of history. If all this is just the data of history, how Rama did, how Bharata did, so what are you going to gain out of it? If you gain out of any scriptural teaching by applying it to your own life. If it doesn't apply to you, if it is just a historical message, it has nothing to do with you. Shiva drank up the whole poison. You can go on fighting. No, not Shiva, not. It was Vishnu, he inspired him. I'm just saying how people lose their mental energy over very tiny little things without understanding what is behind it. So coming back to the storyline and follow that episode in all detail, understand it was not really Lakshmana's problem, nor Rama's problem. It's the art of giving spiritual teaching to the masses through the story of avatars. And every saintly personality is a kind of avatar. And even those spiritual seekers, they are all avatars. Unless your soul attains Brahman, avatara of avatars, Brahman is beyond avatars. And that's your goal. So you are not only going to become Krishna, Rama, you are Brahman, the Absolute. And as long as you view Krishna, Rama, Brahman, then that's again, that's your goal. You are Rama, you are Krishna, you are Shiva. So, Lakshmana says, just as a lion terrifies a herd of elephants, or a hawk goes after a water bird, it's a little creature, bird-like, that goes on being swept by the current, and hawk goes and clutches and carries off that little lark, just like the hawk does in a sweeping movement. Similarly, he will be the lion, he will be the hawk. To dispel Bharata, Shatrugna and all the people, keeping in his mind the view that they are all coming just for a fight. They also give you a message. If your mind makes a hasty decision, lot of error can enter in that decision. Make a thoughtful decision, but not a hasty decision. तैसे ही भरत ही सेन समेता सानुज निहरि निपात मुखेता जो सहाय कर संकरु आई तो मारौ रन राम दुहाई. I will fight against Bharata and his brothers, younger brother Shatrugna, confronting them in battle. Even if Lord Shiva were to come and assist them, be on their side, I will not leave Bharata Shatrugna alive. I will destroy them. Again and again you hear this type of statement. Even if Shiva comes, even if Brahma comes, be surprised even if Vishnu comes. Subtle point to understand. That if your mind of an aspirant, is confined to Sagun Sakar only, the Sagun Sakar level compared to Nirguna Nirakar, Sagun Sakar level is limited because it is based on your concept of your mind. You can see a person, Akar, form. God doesn't have any form. But you are using a form led by your limited mind. And similarly, you are thinking of divine qualities based on your own mental concept. So no matter how wonderful is your mind, you cannot exactly bring Brahman in the form of Sagun Sakar. But Sagun Sakar has its role. It is meant to give you a support in your spiritual movement. But if you become confined to support, you are not progressing. If you are learning swimming, in the beginning, many supports are given to you. And if you become dependent upon support only, you can't swim. So swimming strength and swimming delight is far greater than the support strength and delight coming from the support. So the support movement and delight coming from support is a role of Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Same deity can be, if you are mature, no matter which deity you are worshipping, your focus is on who is being represented by your deity. Brahman, the Absolute. So that's the point being brought out each time when they say that even hundreds of Shiva comes and hundreds of Vishnu comes, thousands, Rama excels all of them. Ati sarosh ma khe lakanu laki suni sapatha prayan. Sapath pravan. Sabhay lok sab lokapati chahat bhabari bhagan. Now, people who saw Lakshmana raging with wrath. And his firm determination to fight against Bharata and Shatrugna and to destroy them along with the vast army. Who listened to that? All the Lokpalas. They are deities supporting the universe. Again, allegorical description. The old style picture of the world was not round, but the world was a flat. And Dikpalas were holding from both sides, from east, west, north, south. So anyone who creates trouble, Dikpalas have to bear with it. So, hearing these words of Lakshmana, Dikpalas, the deities that support the world, as if they wanted to run away to escape his powerful wrath. That's again, it's just a poetic writing. That when anger enters, all your good qualities that support the world you are living in, the world where you will progress, that world is your real loka. If you do not follow that loka, you are loco. You are mad. If you don't follow your loka means as if Dikpalas, those who support your loka, they have run away or they are shaking. Completely allegorical. And it also implies, further extended, that gods who are always around you, they become terrified what Lakshmana is doing. When anything good you do, they begin to shower flowers. And when you do something wrong, going to create a great agitation, gods become agitated. By gods implying, basically, the world you live in, the consciousness that you are experiencing, that consciousness becomes agitated. Pure consciousness is never agitated, but led by ignorance, you are under the trap of relative consciousness. And in that trap, certain things you do as if shakes the higher worlds. They run away from you. As if higher divine planes, they were waiting to welcome you, but now since you have done something wrong, those higher worlds have become distant, as if they ran away from you. Try to understand, this is all poetic language. Gods are not so shaky in reality. If they are gods, they don't just go on shaking. But each time when you read that someone did a great austerity, even a demon doing tremendous aspect, that suddenly fire enters in the loka. People begin to blaze and shake Who is doing what type of austerity? And Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva all become alert. You take them literally, it's all allegorical. All this is how your mind has brought all these concepts. And all those good concepts that could have helped you, now they shake up until you correct them. Correct yourself. If they are so shaky, then imagine what type of divine planes are that. The Brahma Loka shakes, Shiva Loka shakes, Kailasha mountain shakes. So whenever you hear all this is allegorical. It's called pathetic fallacy. So Lakshmana continues. Let's enjoy his rasa for his wrath. तैसे ही भरत ही सैन समेता सानुज निधरि निपातम खेता. Along with all the army and his younger brother Shatrughna, I will fight against them. Even if Shankara, Lord Shiva, comes, जो सहाय कर शंकरु आई तो मारो रन राम दोहाई. In the name of Rama, even if Shankara comes to assist Bharata and Shatrughna, I swear by the name of Rama, I will kill them all. अति शरोख माखे लखनु लखी सुनी सपथ प्रवान सभय लोक भय लोकपति चाहत भभरी भगान. This point I have explained. Seeing Lakshmana so agitated and making such promise with the name of Rama, all people became frightened. Lokpalas, the deities supporting the world, they became frightened as if they wanted to run away. Jagu bhai magan gagan bhai bani, lakhana bahubal bipul bakani. The entire world began to sink in the ocean of fear. Suddenly, Akashavani literally means voice coming from the sky. A celestial voice spoke up as if a thundering voice comes from the heavens. And people take it literally and wait for it, but it never comes like that. Let me give you a deeper meaning of Akashvani. Akasha term relates to three types of space. Physical space called Bhutakash. If the speeches come from physical world, it is speech of the bhut. That speech is shaky ground. When you practice meditation, your inspiration comes from a deeper level You are not listening to your practical nervous system, your practical brain. The brain, nervous system, they are bringing you totally a different type of experience. Every moment they have their own complaints. And many of those are not, your brain doesn't take care of it well. I'm joking, but the idea is physical state where you are simply aware of your physical body and listening to the body-based, nerves-based experiences. That's Bhut Bani. But when you begin to listen to subtle opening in your feeling level, as dhyana begins to switch your mind from physical to subtle expansion of your feeling. Inspiring vision begins to develop, certain inspirations spring up as if someone has composed a whole poetry for you. And you become surprised, you want to hold it, and later you write it. This is Akashvani. Who talked to you? A celestial level. That's called Chittakash. Bhutakash, Chittakash. And your Akashvani becomes profoundest when you are opening a higher level through intuitive vision. That means Chittakash, Chit plus Akash, Chidakash. That's your ultimate space. So this is about Akashvani. Otherwise, on storyline, it's colorful. People are in a certain turmoil and suddenly an aerial car comes in the sky and a voice rings, oh, here, here. In storytelling is very good. But in practical world, you are not waiting for that type of occurrence. Your inspiration comes from within you. And that's Akashvani. When your conscience begins to work in a profound way, and God is talking to you through your own conscience. And God's voice is Chidakash and Chittakash all together. So the Akashvani said, Jagu bhai bagan gagan bhai pavani, lakhan bahubal vipul bakani. Now during that state of Lakshmana's wrath, the whole world was as if sinking in fear. But the heavenly voice said, first the voice praised Lakshmana. O child, who can describe your power, your glory? Who can even comprehend all the strength that you have? So I have to understand this storyline. Lakshmana is the avatar of Sheshanag. Sheshanag is cosmic mind. So who can describe the power of cosmic mind? That's what Lakshmana is. but that's a storyline. Now, the message behind it, it applies to every individual, every aspirant. Who can describe your potentiality? You have Brahman potentiality. Prajnanam Brahma. And therefore, Uttishtata Jagrata. Therefore, wake up, arise. Don't stay sleeping. Informing you have that potentiality. It doesn't mean that you have it. In practical way, you have realized it. You are being inspired to discover, to attain that level. Anuchita uchita kaju kichu ko. Also, it is giving you the art of advice. If you want to correct a person, do not start suddenly rebuking the person. You foolish, dullwit, son of an owl. And then give the data of the all details. You may be perfectly right what you are saying, but the person will not be benefited. But when you have the art of advice, before you give advice, look into your heart, as if you are helping someone whom you love profoundly. And so, automatically, same thing that you want to do, you say it in a gracious way, in a right way, and all that art becomes possible if you are yourself following the path of being good. But once you have brought that harmonious connection, now you can rebuke the person worse than he could have ever imagined. And the person will listen. So now, the heavenly voice first encouraged Lakshmana, praised him. Now the voice says, Anuchita uchita kajo kichu go, samujhi kariye bala, kaha sabu ko. Whatever challenging situation you face, you must be thoughtful. Figure out what is right, what is wrong. And then do what's needed to be done. But don't just be led by haste without understanding how to resolve the problem, what the problem is. You've heard many ugly news. Someone who is not your enemy somehow comes to knock at the door, and you have read all the terror, etc., and a gun is in your hand. You hardly open it to shoot the person. There's a crude illustration. And that type of deed leads to regret, repentance. And sometimes some people are haunted by their regretting job, regretting things they have done in the previous days. And life becomes filled with regrets. It's worse than a cigarette. Cigarette spoils your lungs. You regret, it spoils all the channels of thinking, the lungs of your mind. So, without thoughtfulness, sudden deed done by your haste, which leads to tremendous waste. Vedas and sages who are skilled in the Vedas, they have given their instructions that haste makes waste. सुनि सुर बचन लखन सकुचाने राम सिंह सादर सन माने कही तात तुम नीति सुहाई सब ते कठिन राज मधुभाई. Lakshmana became awed by the voice and suddenly recognized his error. And his face began to sink. At that moment, Rama and Sita began to encourage Lakshmana, help him to recover from that shock. Here again, another type of setting. Rama is jnana movement, he is jnana embodiment. And jnana corrects the errors of dhyana in a profound way. But that's at the deeper level. From practical point of view, again you are being given that message. In close relationship, dealing with people who are very near and dear, how to help the near or dear one to understand a situation in a way that it makes the person stronger, but not in a way that the person becomes completely sinks in despair. So, seeing Lakshmana in that state, what I am leading to understand, Rama could have said, "Oh Lakshmana, didn't you hear what they are saying? You made an error." Not so. Rama and Lakshmana, they say, "Kahi tat tum niti suhai, sabte kathir raj madhubhai." Oh dear one, what you said was wonderful, perfectly rational. But but not yet, but Rama goes on saying, "Oh brother, the temptation of being so powerful, being a great king, no one can really control it. This is Rajya Mad, pride of being a great king. It's very powerful control. Jo achavant nipana matahi tei, nahin sadhu sabhajahi sei." Those people who get lost implying they lose all their goodness when they become great king or very powerful personality. But these are the people who fall in that trap, who have not been benefited by satsanga. But O Lakshmana, Bharata is totally a different person. In the entire creation of Brahma, no one is like Bharata. Then nowhere you can hear about Bharata-like personality. Or, two words are used, Suna Nadisha. Disha means to see, Suna to hear. In the realm of Brahma, nowhere can you find a person like Bharata. Neither you have heard about that personality, nor you have seen about that personality. Of course, people take it literally. Bharata was a unique person. But real meaning behind it, Bharata is representing bhakti personified, one who has developed profound bhakti, or one who is following the path of bhakti. Because Bharata still is immature, but nevertheless, the path of bhakti is most powerful. That path of bhakti, what it leads you to, that you can't find in Brahma's world. Brahma's world is the world of karma, law of karma. Karma-based world, that world is Brahma's world. In that world, you will not find devotion in its pure stage. Devotion is that type of light that leads the soul beyond law of karma. That light doesn't come from Brahma's world. It's transcendental. And that light is represented by Bharata, represented by bhakti. Bharata hi ho in Raj Madhu, Vidhi Hari Hara Pada Pai, Kabahu ki Kaji Sikar Sikarani, Chira Sindhu Binasai. What to speak of being the king of Ayodhya? Even if Bharata were to be given the position of Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, Bharata will have absolutely no pride. The statement itself, which we have already explained, whenever we are talking about Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, in this fashion, These are mental concepts confined to Sagun Sakar. If mind is simply limited to Sagun Sakar, God is never viewed any beyond Sagun Sakar, then that God that you are worshipping is not strong God. It's allegorical. Don't take it. You're very careful how you understand it. Worshipping God as Sagun Sakar, meditating on God, praying to Him, all this is perfectly normal. Rather, it is commendable sadhana. Without it, you will not go into Nirgun Nirakar. But if being limited, come to a state that you don't want to go any further, then all that it means that your relation with God is meant to maintain your ego and fulfill your ego's expectations. So that's all your relation is. Stay egoistic and go after your desires. And go on turning to God for fulfilling your desires. And this is going to be brought out in Ravana's personality, who was a great demon. But he has studied all the Vedas. And he has worshipped Shiva. So one should have clear understanding. What does it imply? Kabahun ki kaaji sikarani. Now, some type of chutney type of things they make is called khaji, sour. Putting a little khaji into milky ocean, can that little thing destroy the milk of the Kheer Sagar? Just a poetic way of describing it. All this temptation of becoming great, powerful, that big temptation seems big, but it is only a little drop of the kaji, a little chutney. And Bharata's devotion is like a milky ocean. How can that being a king, make his mind go into turmoil? And with this I will conclude. These are deeper studies, you see, so we're not going into the stories fast. Om Ram 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 Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Om. Prayer for the shower of Karunamayras, grace of God over all, and may sabko sanmati, may every soul be blessed with right understanding that not only handles coronavirus, but the worst of all virus, mortality virus. And Shakti, Bhakti, Mukti. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukuma Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.
Does anyone have any questions? Then we conclude for this evening, and Swamiji will guide meditation tomorrow, Saturday evening at 7:30.